welcome back to the 115th episode of PandTha Talks.
Hello.
This week we have quite a bit of news to get through, from the Skyblivion and Oblivion remastered romance continuing to blossom, as Bethesda invites modders to its studio for tea and sweet rolls, which sounds amazing. We're talking also about Kojima this week, because Kojima has apparently got a mind tomb, as it's put, a USB stick filled with ideas for his staff to use after he passes away, which is pretty interesting. And also the fact that he's kind of a little disappointed because Death Stranding playtesters for the original game told him it was a terrible game, and he's a little bummed because Death Stranding 2's playtesters are enjoying it a lot more. He doesn't have interest in appealing to mass market or selling millions. He just has an interest in making something that's unique and new. Which
Death Stranding was certainly unique.
Oh, definitely. Tim Sweeney is recommending a fake adware version of Fortnite to iOS users that's been approved by Apple, unlike the real Fortnite, which is hilarious. Yeah, it's all to do with the Apple bullshit versus Epic bullshit from like 2 years ago now. Still going on that. After Helldivers 2, Arrowhead's next game will be 100% funded by themselves, though the CEO says there are no hard feelings over Sony's boneheaded PSN shenanigans.
That's putting it the nice way, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Incredible news, Stalker 2 fixes corpse eating and sausage blood in big old patch, which also gives enemies less of a death wish. So basically we'll be talking about the 1.4 update for Stalker 2.
I caught a very small piece there, said no more infinity grenades.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Yeah, I'm sure you are so excited for that.
Man. Oh my goodness.
Then we'll be moving on to Xbox making helpful UI changes, which is fucking great news if it's for the Xbox PC app, because Jesus Christ, that thing's horrific, as will sit and talk about all day.
Don't start me.
Yeah. After that, Hogwarts 2. We've got actually a fair bit of news on this. So we've got them coordinating with the new HBO Harry Potter TV series. World may change over time, and could feature characters from the books and films. I don't know how I feel about that, because I think what I enjoyed most about Hogwarts Legacy was it had no major connection to the films. It was its own
just
thing.
giving you it's giving you more insight into the world of Harry Potter without actually having Harry Potter.
Exactly. That's what I enjoyed the most about it, to be honest with you. Then the last thing we'll be discussing this week will be GTA 6's development timeline explained by this Take-Two CEO, so we can take a bit of an in-depth look at what they've actually been spending their time and money on. But with all that said and done, let's go through and actually start to discuss this week's topics.
Let's get into it.
Skyblivion and Oblivion remaster romance continues to blossom as Bethesda invites the modders to its studio for tea and sweet rolls. That, in my opinion, is just amazing.
I hope one of the friends steals the other friend's sweet roll and he can go up to someone and complain about someone stealing his sweet roll.
It would be amazing. Seeing the excitement from the Bethesda team was absolutely unreal, according to the Skyblivion project lead. You would think the Skyblivion and Oblivion remastered teams would be the bitterest of rivals, given how Bethesda surprise dropped a comprehensive makeover of its 2006 RPG on the heads of a team of volunteers, one which had been diligently working on a similar project for years. Yet, if anything, the relationship between the two groups of Oblivion overhaulers is turning into a game dev love story. Just waiting now for the next fucking romance game to come out, and it's just all about modders. It all started before Oblivion Remastered had ever even been revealed, with Skyblivion project lead Rebel's Eyes sending all love and no hate to Bethesda as rumours of a remake swirled. Following the reveal, Bethesda responded by handing out game keys of the remastered version to the entire Skyblivion team, while calling the modders' own efforts very special. Which is respectful, but as I was saying to Will last night, because we were talking last night, I do still feel a bit conflicted on this because of how Bethesda have yet to actually recognise the work of the Fallout London team.
Yeah, it may not have been as hyped because it does feel like there's more Elder Scrolls fans than there is Fallout fans.
Yeah.
So I can understand that maybe it didn't get as much popularity, but still, they did similar things. They did huge mods, complete overhauls for the games, and it kind of doesn't really make sense that they're recognizing one team and not the other.
Yeah. No, exactly. Now that winged stealth archer Cupid has fluttered behind the Elder Scrolls' very own David and Goliath, striking both with a ranged sneak attack for 3 times damage, dear god I hate that sentence, Bethesda formally invited the Skyblivion team round to its house, and the mod is accepted. Moreover, there are pictures to prove it. I've got to see that. Here we are. Here are the pictures. They're with Todd Howard.
Who got scribbled out?
That's a good question. Probably doesn't want their face known.
That seems unlikely.
It's always possible.
Maybe there was a squabble. Drama.
Maybe.
Oh.
Hey, it's a Logitech hub. I know of them. We have them at work. They hurt me. Oh yeah, the Skyrim Dragon Walls behind. I forget that Bethesda's got that in their studio. It was wonderful to have you all to visit. That's amazing to see. It really is. I absolutely love that.
That's crazy. Imagine getting there, man.
Oh yeah. The news and images were shared by Rebel's Eyes on X. Massive thanks for Bethesda Studios for inviting us to the office and showing us around. He wrote, seeing the excitement from the Bethesda team for The Elder Scrolls remake Skyblivion has been absolutely unreal. I had to figure out what the hell the R meant in my head. It took me a minute. The images include the Skyblivion team lined up with various Bethesda devs, including studio head Todd Howard, and the modders in discussion with Bethesda devs in one of the studio's meeting rooms. I mean, they've got to have had some sort of impact, haven't they? Like, to sit down and speak to the devs, that's got to give them some good insight on stuff.
Absolutely.
While this is all very wholesome, the cynical part of my brain says that Bethesda's reasons for having the Skyblivion team over are largely self-interested, as it doesn't want to be seen as steamrolling a highly anticipated years-long modding project on the cusp of launch. You mean like you did with Fallout London, where you updated Fallout the day before it was due to release?
Yeah, dick move, Bethesda.
That said, Bethesda didn't have to do any of this, and could have taken a much harsher stance towards Skyblivion, attempting to shut down the project. Hence, whatever Bethesda reasons, it's great to see such a big studio being so supportive of a modding project like this. While Oblivion Remastered is already out and generally well received, Skyblivion's release date remains no more specific than 2025, but Revelsize confirmed last month that the Overhaul is still on track for release, which is great to hear. I'll be honest, I plan to play the Overhaul, the one for it's built in Skyrim's engine, and with they've made their own stuff for it. I plan to play.
Given the fact it's made in Skyrim's engine, obviously like Oblivion's going to be a lot different. So yeah. I don't really see how one is going to overwhelm the other, because it's two completely different things.
Yeah, they basically are remaking Oblivion in the Elder Scrolls V engine, where you've got another team that are making Cyrodiil, which is where Oblivion is set, in Skyrim's time and engine. So you've got two separate modding teams working on two separate, completely different situations, but they're both crazy and insane to think about. I'm excited for everything when it drops, I really am. So Kojima, he's apparently got a mind tomb, and it's just filled with ideas, and he classifies it as sort of a will to continue Kojima Productions.
This is a great start. Oh my god, that first paragraph.
As a 31-year-old, I think constantly about my imminent death. After being assassinated by terrorists while rescuing a baby, who is also the president from a burning building, how do I want people to remember me? Ugh, Kojima, your mind. I don't know if I'd be afraid if I had to spend 5 minutes in his brain or what. I feel like it'd be a torturous trap.
You definitely come out as a different person.
Oh yeah, definitely. Fortunately, my contract stipulates that I will be embalmed and lying in state like Lenin in the centre of the PC gamer offices until the end of time. But others don't have that luxury. We're short on desk space as it is. Hideo Kojima, for instance, is achieving... Wait, so that wasn't even Kojima, that was whoever this insane article writer is. You scare me even more than Kojima does. Hideo Kojima...
Why is this article, man?
I'm concerned already. Hideo Kojima, for instance, is achieving immortality by cramming a USB stick full of ideas for his staff to use after he concludes his tenancy on Earth. What a way to describe this. Yeah,
it's definitely one way to word things.
Yeah, you just concluded your tenancy, that's all.
Yeah, his tenancy agreement's up in a few decades, he's going to have to move on to elsewhere.
Yeah, it's just the way it goes. In a chat with our comrades at Edge magazine, Kojima had said a serious illness during the COVID-19 pandemic reminded him of his mortality. Until then, I didn't think I was old, I didn't feel my age. I assumed I would be able to create for as long as I live. Sickness delusioned him of that. I couldn't create anything, and I saw a lot of people around me passing away at that time. I was confronted with death. Though Kojima recovered and is now full swing on putting out Death Stranding 2, the experience stayed with him. He began to wonder how long he had left to keep doing creative work. Perhaps I would have 10 years? It's that confrontation with mortality, says Kojima, that produced the pitch for Fizzant. But it produced something else too. A USB stick filled with Kojima brand ideas for his staff to pour through after he's gone. I gave a USB stick with all my ideas on to my personal assistant, kind of like a will. Perhaps they will continue to make things after I'm gone here at Kojima Productions. This is a fear for me. What happens to Kojima Productions after I'm gone? I don't want them to just manage our existing IP. To be honest, I can't think of anything more Kojima than games still coming out with his name over the title sometime in 2150. That would not shock me. And honestly, it would not surprise me if there's an entire scene with him in it talking in 2150 and he's just there so yeah, I died 150 years ago. Fight me.
I'd like to point out that the guy's only 61 years old and does not look like he's doing bad.
No, if anyone deserves this kind of intellectual preservation, it's the guy who got a Game Boy Advance made with a solar sensor built into the cartridge. You reckon the idea for a game where you get old, die, and forget how to move is on there? Hopefully Kojima's assistant backed it up in any case. So Joshua Wallens, you scare me. And Kojima, you also frighten me. So more Kojima. That's the way this works. Hideo Kojima says most Death Stranding playtesters told him it was a terrible game. And he's a little bummed Death Stranding 2 is testing way better.
That entire paragraph makes no sense to me. I'm very confused.
Well, I think it's just how Kojima is, if I'm brutally honest with you.
What, just a confusing man?
Yes, exactly that. I'm not interested in appealing to the mass market or selling millions of copies. No matter what reactions a Hideo Kojima game elicits from you, we can all appreciate swinging for the fences. Death Stranding is the sort of game that in our profoundly risk-averse business should have never gotten the sizable Sony-backed budget it did. But such is the power of Kojima's name. Still, I have to imagine someone at Sony broke a sweat when they learned they were funding a delivery simulator that's light on action and heavy on contemplative vistas, especially considering how the first Death Stranding tested before it came out. In a recent interview with Edge magazine, as shared by Games Radar, Kojima revealed that most playtesters were repulsed by his post-Konami debut. I did a lot of monitoring tests for the first Death Stranding. I'd find that 4 out of 10 people would love the game and 6 would say it was a terrible game. They weren't mixed, and they did not find redeeming qualities in Death Stranding's cool gadgets or cooler peeing mechanic. Of course. 60% of testers hated it, but that's the sort of feedback that'd have me hammering backspace and starting all over. But Kojima went on to say that 40% approval is a good balance, noting that big studio movies often require 80% approval before releasing. Kojima said, "I don't want to make games like that. I'm not interested in appealing to the mass market or selling millions of copies. That's not what I'm aiming for." In fact, he seems disappointed that those same playtests for Death Stranding 2 are way more positive, to the extent that he wishes it was a bit more controversial. Sounds backwards, I know, but I know what he's getting at. The first Death Stranding relished in its inscrutability. What with all that beached things jargon and its slow-paced, sometimes hardcore hiking gameplay, it was the last thing you'd expect from your favorite director of stealth action games. Which is very true. No one expected this. Everyone was very, very confused at the time.
I
But
mean, the thought of Death Stranding is just confusing because it is a wacky game.
oh, 100%. But then all you do is you just type Death Stranding into Steam and you see 28,309 reviews, 92% of which are positive.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, and at that point you just kind of go, huh, okay, you know, masterpiece, Kojima, let me bear your children.
Well then.
I mean, that just answers everything right there.
Yeah.
It's a testament to creative independence that Death Stranding came out was as divisive as playtesters warned, but still found an audience, most of whom weren't looking for a post-apocalyptic hiking simulator. I did not know what I'd want to spend 200 hours. I did not know that I'd want to spend 200 hours scanning a mountain looking for the least treacherous rock to step on until such an opportunity arose. And despite Kojima's wishes, it did lead to selling millions of copies, which he must not mind considering it earned him another big budget to make what he wants.
I have to say, in comparison to the first game, and obviously I don't know about you, I've not seen anything of the second game, didn't actually even know is in making. I do kind of wonder how they're going to continue that, because if it's too similar to the first game, no one's going to really care. Because I think the thing that got it going was how different it was.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll be very interesting to see what they do with that. On the flip side, the almost universally positive buzz around Death Stranding 2 might have Kojima worried that he's made an incremental sequel, more of what people liked, but not as unexpected or surprising as the original. More of the same, but better, is exactly what I want out of Death Stranding 2. See, I'm very much opposite. I really want something different with it.
Yeah, you and I've talked about a lot of the games we've loved before, especially ones that have more than just one game. So there's multiple in the series of games. And a lot of the time it is you just want more of that game you're playing.
Yeah.
And I didn't personally play Death Stranding, but it's because it's not really my kind of game. I get kind of bored quite quickly.
Oh, 100% you.
But if I did play it, as good as it was, and the mechanics were really cool. There was quite a few funny bits in it too, but at the same time, it was a very serious game.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Oh yeah.
But if I enjoyed playing that game and I saw the second one come out and played it and it felt close to the same thing as the first game, I would lose interest very quickly.
Yeah, I feel like unless they would, for example, nail the story elements, which I mean Kojima's always done in the past. That's going to be the thing that would drive it. Whereas new mechanics and things is what people would, to be honest, be looking for the most part. He might not admit. Go on, sorry.
It's going to be one to keep an eye on to see, because obviously we don't know anything of it right now.
Yeah.
So until we pretty much see a trailer, we're not really going to know what it's going to be like. Yeah, all up in the air. Perfect time.
He might not admit to caring about the mass market, but he clearly cares about satisfying fans. The Metal Gear creator's career is one of balancing expectations with experimentation, a struggle that he's worn on his sleeve for decades. I mean, just look at any of the Metal Gear Solid games. They are a perfect example of what Kojima can do at his best. And every single thing about them is questionable at their funnest times.
Don't hate me, but I was not a fan of the games.
No, I can completely believe that.
I think they have the absolute worst control scheme known to man. I thought having to press triangle on PS3 to jump on Skyrim was bad. That is just a fucking mess.
Yeah, the new ones were the newer one was okay. 5, the Phantom Pain. That was the control scheme was good.
Anytime I had my hands on it, which wasn't much, would have been probably at least a decade ago.
Yeah.
So it would have been the older games, and let's be honest, some of the older games that we played, they had some wacky controls
Oh,
before. Like a lot
100%.
of what we know now became more the basics of controls and the standard default keybinds, stuff like that.
Yeah, Tim Sweeney is recommending a fake adware version of Fortnite to iOS users that's been approved by Apple, unlike the real Fortnite. Well, that's because Fortnite has in-app purchases that don't go through Apple, they go through Epic.
Yeah, and that means Apple don't get as much money as they could, and they
Yeah,
don't like that because they're money mongering bastards.
exactly.
Apologies, that was a little blunt.
It's interesting to see you taking my point of view for a change.
I hate Apple. You know this. I hate them.
I was saying, but I also hate Epic just as much.
I just couldn't give a shit about Epic. They've done what they've done. They know what they've done, and they know I hate them for it. So
They know what they've done, and they know I hate them. I sent him Sweeney 7 messages a day. He knows. The long-running war between Epic and Apple now feels like it's just part. That's because it is.
oh,
Just as the sun always rises, Epic and Apple are always at each other's throats. It's almost like the conflict has been getting pretty spicy again.
Rory,
Yeah?
I don't know if you're cutting out a lot for me, going like robot-y a bit.
I don't know why I would be. I'm not downloading anything.
Yeah, I was watching my Discord there, but I didn't see anything on my end, so I'm kind of just confused now.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. Everything okay
Why
now?
does it say? Why does it say Finland?
Finland? Where's Finland?
I clicked on the voice details. It's saying Finland, 10176.
Are we in Finland? What the hell's going on? What's
I
happening?
have no idea.
Yeah, why are we in Finland? What in the... Discord, fix your shit!
When that happened, but
No idea. You know, let's just continue and act like it's just in the back of our mind somewhere.
you're not cutting out anymore or going
That's
robot,
good.
so should be okay.
Last month, a ruling stopped Apple from charging a commission on purchases made outside of the iOS app. The point of contention that initially led to Fortnite being pulled from the App Store way back in 2020. Can't believe that happened 5 years ago now.
Really?
5 years ago. That was the initial start of this war. The assumption was that Fortnite would finally be returning to the US App Store. It's been available in the EU since last year. But nope, Apple has blocked Epic's submission, which means Fortnite is not available anywhere. No, it is. It's available on PC, Android,
The fact that people actually play Fortnite on mobile, like it's bad enough to play Fortnite to begin with, but to play it on mobile, what on earth are you doing?
Yeah, it's some next level pettiness, and Tim Sweeney has now responded in kind. Now, the Epic boss is tweeting out recommendation for fake Fortnites. At first, it was Fort Battle Royale Epic Shoot, but
Oh my god.
what a name. But that's since been removed from the App Store. Not to worry though.
Can it be more on the nose?
I know, right? Not to worry though, because it's always very easy to find rip-offs over there. Update, Apple's taken down Fort Battle Royale Epic Shoot, Sweeney wrote in a follow-up tweet. Players looking for a fake adware version of Fortnite on the App Store should instead try Epic Survival Battle Royale 3D Clash Squad Battle Royale 3D, approved by Apple.
Fuck.
What a
God.
game.
They're getting real creative with
Oh,
their
yeah.
names these days, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. Completely 10 out of 10. And this guy was trying to attack Steam for anti-consumer. Like, Jesus. Sweeney isn't trying to support questionable adware developers, obviously. Rather, he's unsubtly highlighting the absurdity of Apple blocking one of the world's most popular games from the App Store, despite regularly allowing shameless imitators to exploit its popularity. But unlike Fortnite, these little imitators aren't on Apple's radar, or its shit list.
I mean, I think
I
it's
like
pretty
the ending.
obvious. If they want on the Apple App Store, you just gotta give them money, man.
Yeah, it's very simple. Give them money, they'll do anything you say. Genuinely.
But to be honest, though, considering Apple is mainly going to be mobile devices and stuff, I can't really see them making much money off of them.
No, exactly. After Helldivers 2, Arrowhead's next game will be 100% funded by themselves. Though CEO Shams Jajani says there's no hard feelings over Sony's boneheaded PSN shenanigans. As he says, there would be no Helldivers if it wasn't for them. That word makes me sad.
At the same time, though, they almost made it no Helldivers.
Yeah, you almost killed the game entirely.
Not just once either.
Yeah,
Many
multiple times.
times.
Infinite stratagem glitches aside, Helldivers 2 really does seem to have pulled up from some pretty dire times. After a chaotic first year, even if it hadn't, though Arrowhead would still very much have enjoyed the uproaring success of its months, which saw of its first months, which saw it hitting a massive all-time peak of over 450,000 players on Steam alone. That success, per some Discord messages by Arrowhead CEO Shams, has paved the way for an entirely self-funded game in the studio's future. In response to a player asking Giugiani to make sure the studio's next game is playable in all regions, he replied, "The game is 100% funded by ourselves, so we'll call 100% of those shots." Good choice. Very, very
Just
good choice.
real quick,
Yeah,
still over 78,000 players in game right now.
exactly. It's doing well. It really is. It's amazing.
24-hour peak of just over 100k.
Yeah.
I
Said player
about
was,
to hit 1 million reviews too.
yeah. Said player was referring to the Sony PSN drama that saw a downright historic review bombing of the game removed from sale in several countries. Several countries, not companies, article. Now that Arrowhead has got enough credits in the Super Earth Bank, it won't have to rely on Sony for a partnership anymore.
How often do you see it happen where a game gets one small little issue or one bad review from a well-known name and that destroys like a lot of its popularity?
Why?
How insane do you think Helldivers 2 would have done if that shit that Sony pulled didn't happen? Considering they hit 450k very quickly in concurrent players, had millions and millions of sales.
I think if Sony was more consumer friendly and allowed more accessibility from more places, that game could have easily hit 600k, maybe higher.
Yeah, share the Steam.
Yeah, it is. It really is. In an earlier message, Giorgiani writes, "The wonderful thing is that thanks to the amazing support of you fine people, Arrowhead's future is quite bright, and we have the freedom to explore some really cool concepts that we couldn't have otherwise. Game 6, our next project, will happen the way it will happen thanks to you." Does this mean then that Arrowhead has some proper linger beef with Sony? While the studio has grappled with the gaming giant in the past, Giorgiani reassures players that there is no hard feelings, in a reply to one comment about the studio ditching Sony now that it got what it was wanted. No way. PlayStation are great. There would be no Helldivers if it wasn't for them. We're open to working with them again in the future. They are incredibly game/debted, solid partners, and this is me just saying it like it is, not blowing smoke up their asses. I like how just straightforward and blunt the CEO is. That's my thing. Well, I'm sure Giugiani wants to maintain some degree of diplomacy here, and I think Sony's PSN decisions were absolutely baffling. He's not entirely wrong. It's easy to forget, but during the game's early days of chaotic server crashes and infernal logging queues, Sony was a consistent lifeline to an otherwise overwhelmed studio. More cynically, Helldivers 2 took 8 years to make. Its development, as per the words of his now CCO, Joanne Pilds, that's the guy who was CEO, was chaotic. Would the studio have survived its growing pains without Sony Publishing's aid to get over the finishing line? This isn't too well blow smoke up their asses, as Giorgiani puts it, merely to point out that the game development is hard, long, unpredictable, and requires money. Sony definitely jeopardized Arrowhead's rep in the past with its boneheaded choices, but it also published the game with money a pre-Helldivers 2 Arrowhead probably didn't have to spend. If it's a break, then I reckon Giorgiani's right to make it a clean one. No, that all makes sense. At the end of the day, what he said is completely accurate. They didn't have the money, the funds, or the experience at the time to make the game that they were wanting, so obviously they needed the assistance. Now,
But you know what?
they're in a better
Now
spot.
they do. Now
Yeah.
they have everything they need, and they don't have someone like Sony fucking their game up. Because let's be honest, that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, exactly that. Incredible news! Stalker 2 fixes corpse eating and sausage blood in a big old patch, which also gives enemies less of a death wish. No more sniping
Oh,
with shotguns or infinity grenades, a lot more taking cover. I'm sure Will is absolutely ecstatic at this news as well.
absolutely. I mean, the issue I had was it would just out of all the enemies you'd fight in a group, there'd always be one that just hid behind cover, didn't peek, and just started tossing grenades perfectly at your feet.
Yeah,
It was so annoying.
they call it the 1-2 punch. Yesterday, GSC Game World popped its head out up to say, hey, next week it's going to put out those original Stalker remasters it promised last year. Today, it's popped its head out to say, if that doesn't satisfy you, then it's also got over 700 fixes for Stalker 2. Crucially, it has fixes for corpse eating and the sausage blood. So,
They
1.4
didn't
dropped.
slow down, did they?
No, 1.4 dropped. Now, the other thing I do have to mention about this is, because as he's just mentioned, goddamn double type, winding me up. So, as he also mentioned, on top of this amazing patch, they also are dropping Stalker Legend of the Zone Enhanced Edition coming May 20th. And basically, if you own the original 3 games, which I do right there, they're giving you a free upgrade to the Legends of the Zone Trilogy Enhanced Edition, which drops in 2 days' time on the 20th of May. And they've already got mods for this, by the way, may I just add. I will be pulling up a link for that right now. Oh, why did I add a dot? There we go. So, these are actually the system requirements for this, by the way. I've not seen the requirements be this low for a game in a while. I'm so happy about it. I don't know why.
Yeah,
It makes me happy.
look at the maximum 2160p and how low the
Yeah.
requirements are.
But this thing,
When have we ever seen something like this?
That's the thing. They've given basically the modern resolution options, modern setting options, and they've just gone, well, because the game isn't going to be the best looking thing ever, it's just going to be an enhancement on what was originally there. We don't need to do much with the specs. And that to me is amazing to hear. On top of that, this is what also blew my mind about this. They've already got modding support for it built into the game so that console players can mod too. They've got full systems to basically kick in on the Switch, everything. They are fully going all in for this. And I think it's going to be amazing to actually sit down and start to play this. Stalker 2 is an amazing game. I absolutely love it. Everyone, I feel like, knows that at this point. But seeing Stalker, the original Stalker trilogy, getting some love at the same time, so happy. And
let's be honest, the guys behind Stalker, they know how to do things right, man.
Oh yeah. Even in the middle of a war zone, they're still doing this.
Glitch.
So, patch 1.4 is live. We're not really going to be looking at the article. We're going to be looking at the patch notes, because that's where the best things are. Over 700 fixes and improvements with a main focus on combat. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Highlights. Mutants can now use corpse eating animation if there are dead bodies nearby. Mutants now have an alert state if something is happening near or approaching them. Improvements to human combat. Loads of fixes and stuff there. Increased number of generic heads for NPC randomization. We're not going to see the same guy. Burra can now use its telekinetic abilities to catch and throw grenades.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that's absolutely mortifying. Those things were terrifying as it was.
Those things were a pain in the ass as it was. Now they're going to be throwing my grenades back at me?
Yeah. Improved weapon stats displaying in the inventory. Updated weapon stats bars and their calculation logic. Added a new weapon stat, handling. That's frightening. A-life and combat. That's quite a fair bit. Okay.
Just a few things.
Yeah. Fixed erratic behaviour after attacking enemy layers. Fixed an issue with A-life NPC not moving after transitioning to offline. Improved mutant behaviour during combat. That's always a good thing. Fixed an issue where a flesh mutant was hiding to ambush the player after they avoided a jump attack. Fixed an issue where a swarm of rats. Yeah, basically fixed a load of things there. Improved
I hated
path
those
building.
swarms of rats.
Yeah, same. Improved path building for NPC in offline to avoid them getting into restricted areas. Blind dogs are now playing peaceful barks when not in combat with player. Adjusted aim for NPCs that are now that are in low cover. Adjusted shooting range of NPCs depending on their weapon. That'll be the shotgun sniping. Adjusted
Thank God.
shooting from cover for the NPCs. Good, because they shouldn't be as accurate if they're in cover. You know, like if they're down behind it and they're just shooting, popping shots, they should not be able to be as accurate. It depends on the situation. RPM 74 increased armor piercing value. Explosions now cause more damage to high ranking targets. Increased RPG damage. I still never use that, you know.
Yeah, so.
Decreased lethal distance for grenades. Increased concussion distance for RPG. So the lethal distance for grenades, I think, is a good idea, actually. Added some silencers into stashes. Thank you. Added cores the possibility to upgrade Zircon suit. Cool. Fixed an issue where players were able to install physical protection upgrade twice for the PSZ-91 Falcon armor. Rebalance stashes in the Zaton region. Improve regeneration and spawn of random anomalies after a mission. Bug fixes and crash performance. There's a fair few there.
Just a few.
I'm not going to cover these because spoilers can happen, and that frightens me. Technical updates. Improved pathing for NPCs. Thank you. Minor polishment and improvement for scripted NPC animations. Good. Human characters that turn on flashlights are now slightly more illuminated and visible in the dark. How amazing. Added a new emission shelter in Chemical Plant's dining room. Added emission shelter to Technician Room at Ranger Station Zaton region. Improved facial animations and realism. Improved impact sounds for the bolt. Reduced redundant blur effect on players' vitals stat panel during trade. Added players' vitals stat panel in the trade menu. Added a new death animation and sound effects for electricity, acid, bullet, and rat bites damage. Interesting.
You died to a rat.
I don't know. That's kind of impressive in itself.
I know some parts of Stalker 2 could be considered quite difficult. You could die quite easily. But how the hell are you dying to a rat?
Yeah. We thought that these updates deserve their own spotlight. Please be ready. Fixed an issue where shooting at a sausage props produced blood particles. Fixed an issue where ducks could fly into the water after being shot at. Oh, okay. So, yeah, they've done a lot in 1.4. And
I mean, every update they've done a lot.
Yeah, there's still so much left. I mean, if we look down here, game updates. So this is just like them working on 1.4 all the way up. It's amazing to see how much they're actually working on, and this is still something insane to think about.
They still want to do more with A-Life as well.
Yeah. I mean, good on them. A-Life is like a massive part of Stalker, and without it, I feel like it would just be a drop.
I mean, we saw what it was like without it when the game was first released. And the difference it is now, even with just what they have on it.
Oh, yeah.
How much it's changed the feel of the game.
It changes everything, A-Life. It's such an amazing system. It really is.
Once again, just taking back to the point that we always say, that like an empty open world may as well be no world.
Yeah. Xbox is making helpful UI changes, Will.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
I'm really hoping it's for the PC version, but we'll see. Xbox announced a set of helpful UI changes coming to the console. Never mind. Home screen.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, I was very tempted to say that, actually. With 3 new personalization options on the way. These features are already rolling out to the alpha and alpha skip ahead Xbox insiders this week, giving early playtesters a look before they reach wider audiences. The update is part of Xbox's ongoing push to make the home experience feel more personal, flexible, and in line with what players have been asking for. Work on the PC version then, you dicks.
Actually,
the Xbox dashboard functions as the main hub. We all know what it does. Xbox has a solid track record of tweaking the dashboard over time, usually guided by feedback from the community, and this latest round fits right in. This time around, the focus, you know what, do we have an option? Here we are, hide system apps. So choose a tile size for your games and apps. This system will hide apps from the recently played list. Yeah, so then instead of seeing all your apps, you'll just see what games you've played recently. Choose the number of tiles to show in your recently played. So basically, it's just basic customization options.
Very basic.
Very, very basic. Jesus Christ. Okay, moving on.
Oh, well, that was terrible.
Yeah, absolutely awful. Hogwarts Legacy 2, coordinating with the new HBO Harry Potter TV series. There's a lot of controversy about this TV series due to, like, casting of characters and things like that. So, I'm not sure whether
I
this
just
will be
feel
a good
like
thing
no
or not.
matter what, if it involves something to do with Harry Potter, there's just going to be controversy
Oh,
everywhere.
100%, yeah. Hogwarts Legacy 2 will apparently coordinate with the Harry Potter HBO series. Hogwarts Legacy 2's existence has been acknowledged by executives, but it has yet to be formally revealed, and the success of the first game virtually guarantees a sequel at some point. While correct, you do also need to take into account Warner Brothers is slowly falling apart at the seams, so be careful in what you wish for. It seems as though the upcoming Hogwarts Legacy sequel will be coordinating storylines with the Harry Potter HBO TV series. Hogwarts Legacy 2 is not officially unveiled just yet, but its existence has been acknowledged by executives. That's actually a concern then, if they're going to be syncing stories with the HBO Harry Potter series. Because, let's be
Kind of
honest,
going to
as
make
we
each
said
other
earlier,
redundant.
yeah, as we said earlier, we don't want the same stories. We don't want them to really be too linked. We want it to be its own thing.
Yeah. So
But
if you
that's what we
watch
care
if you
about.
watch the series, is there a point in playing the game, and the same
Yeah.
vice versa, because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's just like small side quests, if I'm honest with you. But once again, the thing that we enjoyed so much about the first game, it was set in the late 1800s. Set the next one in the early 1900s. Make it
Yeah.
still further apart so that you're not worrying about that sort of stuff.
You know, if we're gonna sit and watch the same stories just in different ways, like it's gonna be kind of boring.
Yeah, or make it where Harry Potter's long fucking gone and we're dealing with Hogwarts after his bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, you know that place was in absolute ruins after all that. You know.
Yeah, I think it'd be quite interesting to see what went on afterwards. But
Yeah.
once again,
Who tried to follow in Voldemort's steps as he managed to destroy most of the castle? You know, surely someone's
yeah.
gonna take advantage of.
Also, it's called Hogwarts Legacy, so it's about the legacy of Hogwarts. It shouldn't be to do realistically with modern day. So take away from my prior thought there, but it also shouldn't be to do with the Harry Potter stuff because it's the legacy, not the current. Anyways, Hogwarts Legacy 2's world may change over time. This is something I am kind of interested in, I must admit, in that regard. If you have a world that's changing over time, I think that's very interesting. And it definitely does change the feel of the game as it progresses. A new
There's
job.
been
Go on, sorry.
obviously stuff that like that done before, but what
Yeah.
my issue with that is it's all scripted.
Yeah.
You have to pass a certain point in the quest line for things to change or different paths to open up, or you have to get to a certain amount of playtime in your save for something to happen, or you
Yeah.
need to go to a specific location to activate an event or a cutscene that then changes the world.
Exactly.
There's not enough randomness.
I'd like it if, like, the small side quests and stuff.
Yeah.
If those things impacted the world more. Because it's only ever main story stuff that impacts the world. I'd love
Yeah.
to see side quests, or just even if I, like, complete something that's just like an Easter egg, that I've just basically found something, broke, let's say, a gate, and next time I come to that location, it's all boarded back up, and there's some kids that are stood there trying to break through.
Yeah.
Just something like that, something different. A new job indicates that the upcoming Hogwarts Legacy 2s could have a world that changes over time. The original Hogwarts Legacy was already fairly immersive experience for Harry Potter fans, so a chance like this one could potentially make the experience even more interesting for gamers who love the universe. The original Hogwarts Legacy was released in 2023. Can't believe that was 2 years ago now.
Is that no? That's not that long to be honest, and they're already like talking about the second game.
Oh, they were talking about the second one after the first one released and gave
That
good
is
success.
true.
And went on
They
to
didn't waste any time, did they?
Oh no. and went on to sell over 34 million units. While a sequel has not officially been unveiled yet, it's essentially guaranteed that Hogwarts Legacy 2 is in development. Not many details are known about the project, though, so it's only possible to speculate based on rumors from insiders and job listings from developer Avalanche Software. So apparently, now the new job listing is a world lead designer at Avalanche Studio Software, and it sheds some light on one possible aspect of the game world. According to the post, the designer will create a highly coherent and immersive world that has the potential to change over time, working together with other narrative and art directors to create playable environments and spaces. This strongly suggests that Hogwarts Legacy 2 will feature some kind of change in the game's world. However, it's still unknown how deep these changes will be and whether they will be implemented based on the player's specific actions or only over the passage of time via the main story, which is what we were talking about earlier, which is typically done. I like to see action-based changes, personally, but that's me. Other reports, though, have
It doesn't
indicated...
need to be narrowed down to one specific thing that is what changed it. It needs to be a variety of things.
Oh, yeah.
Because I going from a point where I can understand that like you can't just have shit randomly happen because then you risk you load into the game and suddenly a UFO crashes at your feet before you've even got into the game.
Yeah.
And that is complete bullshit pulled out of my ass, I'm aware. But that's just like a random event.
No, you are right.
But there does need to be like a lot of variety. So you get a small thing, a small random event that could happen just randomly. Or you have you do a certain quest and that changes something. Or you progress through the storyline and that changes something. You need a bit of all of it. Not
Yeah.
just oh well, you've got this point storyline. We're not going to change the world, and then that's the only thing that changes because then it's like, well, what's the point of adding that to the game?
No, 100%, I do agree with that. Other reports have indicated that Avalanche Software could be working on an online multiplayer RPG, which will feature player progression, crafting, and more. It's unknown if this will be the Hogwarts Legacy sequel. However, but some people have pointed out that it's possible, considering that the job listings indicate that the developer would need a deep understanding of the wizarding world. That's a little bit concerning. I don't know how I'd feel about a multiplayer RPG. A co-op RPG, I'm fine with. A multiplayer, no. No, please.
Yeah, multiplayer RPGs, it's just a case of it gets ruined by other people because you end up going for this quest and you're in a queue waiting to get in, or someone comes along and you're waiting on a random drop, and someone comes along, gets the last hit on the mob that you're having to kill for that random drop, and get it immediately and leave while you've been sat there for an hour just getting unlucky.
Yeah.
And that's just one or two issues with MMORPGs.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like they would end up sort of isolating some of the player base at that point. A recent job listing suggests that Hogwarts Legacy 2 will feature more characters from the Harry Potter books, movie, and TV series. It's not been officially revealed at the time of writing, but the project has been mentioned by Warner Bros. Discovery, and the dizzying success of the original game virtually guarantees a successor. Yeah, we know. Nothing concrete has been shown off to date, unless plans have changed. We know that Hogwarts Legacy 2 is in development, but that's it. However, Avalanche Software job listings may have provided a further insight to the potential of Hogwarts Legacy 2 will bring to the table, particularly when it comes to the game's cast of characters. Avalanche Software is hiring for a lead designer. That's what we've just covered. Is it because the listing mentions the individual chosen for the job will be responsible for character development, tasked with making compelling characters with a unique backstory, motivations, and growth arcs, as well as bringing in favourite characters from the existing canon and IP. The last bit is especially interesting, and it may provide some further insight to the Legacy 2 will be set. The thing is, that could be in a couple of things, because I mean, for the first game, they had like nearly headless Nick, all that sort of stuff.
I mean, the first game though was meant to be a lot of like nostalgia to the Harry Potter films.
Yeah.
And it was meant to give you the opportunity to be in the Harry Potter universe and explore Hogwarts at that time. But they can't obviously do that again, so they're going to need something new and different, but also in some sort of familiar environment and setting.
You know what they could do, thinking about it?
Hmm.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
That is true.
They could do that time, and they could bring some of the characters in from that. That would be fine, because it's not as... We never saw... actually, did we see... I've not seen the most recent Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Did we see Hogwarts in that?
I'm going to say no, but I can't remember. Is that the one where they're trying to? It was when Dumbledore was young, and they're like trying to take
Yeah, it
that
looks like
like
he's in his
creature.
30s.
Yeah, they're trying to get the creature that like when it kneels to you, you're like truly good or something, and then that's how you become High King or whatever it is you become. So I don't think you see Hogwarts.
No, you don't seem to see Hogwarts in that. But they
It's
could...
mentioned, I believe.
Yeah, it is mentioned, because he was, I think, kicked from Hogwarts, if I remember right.
Yeah,
But
like there's a couple of different conversations they have throughout the film where like this is said about Hogwarts or that is mentioned about Hogwarts, but other than that, that's like the most of it.
But this is the thing. What they could do is they could use familiar faces from that series, which then it's not as well known as Harry Potter. It's still a well known film series, but we could see into the time of Hogwarts when these characters were there, which is even before them films. And I feel like that'd be
Yeah,
fine because the time period isn't stupid. It's still part of the legacies of Hogwarts. I
yeah.
think that'd be pretty interesting.
They definitely need to avoid the mainstream characters from the main Harry Potter films, though.
Yeah,
We've been there, we've seen that. Everyone had their wow moments of being able to get to go around Hogwarts and all that.
yeah.
Now it's time for them to do something different to keep the game going.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dumbledore's most likely going to be there, but probably as a
Oh no,
teacher rather
absolutely,
than a
but
bloody...
that's what Fantastic Beasts did. It was
Yeah,
Dumbledore, but when he was young, because
exactly.
Dumbledore is like 7 million years old or something.
Yeah, pretty much. But no, I think they could do interesting things. They've just got to handle it correctly.
Yeah,
So,
I mean that's up to them to do.
100%. On to the last topic of the day. GTA 6 development timeline explained by Take-Two CEO. Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick has divulged new information on the development timeline for Rockstar Games' next title, GTA 6. As the most recent entry in the series was first released in 2013, fans have been eager to know how long GTA 6 has been in development at Rockstar Games. According to Zelnick, the title began development in earnest in 2020, following the hugely successful launch of Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2018. For fans of the GTA series, waiting for GTA 6 has been like riding a wild roller coaster. The first unofficial look at the highly anticipated title came in 2022 when developer Rockstar Games suffered a massive leak revealing tons of alpha gameplay footage from the next GTA game. The studio then fully revealed the title in December 2023 with an internet-breaking first trailer. Development then continued.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Development then continued and Rockstar Games went dark for over 500 days. Finally, after a year and a half of silence, the second trailer for GTA 6 was finally released last week, giving fans their best look yet at characters, location, and potential new gameplay features.
Yeah, and their
Well,
new Netflix romance story series that they're
you and our community manager are both feeling very similarly on this, aren't you?
there's no fucking gameplay, mate.
Oh,
Shit.
as I said, they claim it's got gameplay in that. I want to know where. I genuinely want to
No.
know.
The only good thing that came from that trailer is that they actually made it look graphically more appealing.
Yeah, GTA 6 began development in earnest in 2020. In a new interview with IGN, Take-Two Interactive CEO revealed that development on GTA 6 began in earnest in 2020. However, the
It's
use
the
of the
fourth time now
phrase...
that we've been told that.
I know, right? However, the use of the phrase "in earnest" suggests that some form of pre-production on the title likely began beforehand, while Zelnick alludes to full production kicking off just 5 years ago. IGN notes that the earliest stages of development may have been started after the release of the hugely popular Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2018. GTA 6 is currently targeting a May 26, 2026 release date. following news of delay from its initial window of fall 2025, meaning the title will have approximately 8 years of development time. That's assuming that pre-production started immediately after Red Dead 2.
Still an absolute absurdly long time.
Oh yeah. Further details surrounding gaming's most anticipated title, yeah, alright, were revealed on May 15 thanks to Take-Two Interactive's new quarterly earnings call, while Rockstar Games develops and publishes the GTA series. The studio is owned by Take-Two Interactive. During yesterday's call, Take-Two CEO Strauss also explained the reasoning behind GTA 6's disappointing delay. According to the CEO, the title is seeking perfection and requires continued polish to meet the expectations set by Rockstar. After revealing the title in 2023, it was confirmed that GTA 6 would be launching for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X/S in fall of 2025. As the release window approached, rumours of delay quickly began circulating online. Then earlier this month, the delay happened. There's still concerns among fans that a second delay could occur, but Zelnick has reassured fans by noting that the studio's historically been very good about achieving specific release dates once set. So what you're saying is because it wasn't specific, you're fine to move it. That sounds about right.
What I'm expecting is, hey, yeah, to all those adoring fans that we have, you're going to be able to play it on PS5 and Xbox X and all that, but you're going to get like 4 FPS because the reason we delayed is so we can release it on the new consoles where you'll get maybe 30 FPS.
Honestly, that would not shock me in the slightest. It really wouldn't. But that's how Rockstar's basically, in my opinion, it's how they've come in the recent years. It's the way it's going. And it's ridiculous. It really is. But there's not much that can really be done on that one, to be honest with you. Other than just have mild regrets overall. Thank you, Rockstar, for always filling us with those delightful regrets. It's much appreciated, as always. So, Will, do you have
Yes.
anything you would like to mention before we finish for today?
No. I'm just waiting for GTA 6 to release so I can see how badly it does.
That's your main focus, is it?
I can't wait to see it, mainly its performance on different platforms.
Well, I mean, for us on PC, we're going to have to wait a couple extra years.
2030, do you reckon? Maybe, if we're lucky?
Genuine
Because, I mean, let's be honest,
timeline.
the game's not going to get released until 27 or 28.
Genuine timeline. I reckon it'll probably be about 2028 if they hit the current release date.
And that's a big if.
Yeah, that's the big question at the moment. If they hit that release date, 2028 is my genuine belief. If they hit
At which point as well, you personally experienced how bad GTA 5 was for PC when it got released.
Oh, don't get me started.
So I'm sure you're worried what the outcome's going to be for GTA 6 on PC.
I'll be honest, you'd think I'd be more worried about it, but to be brutally honest, I'm sort of sitting there and going, if they can't make it work right and they're trying to block modding more for GTA 6 than they did for GTA 5, then they're going to be at severe risk of no one playing the official servers, which will mean a drastic drop in income for them. Best of luck.
Oh, no, sure. We've already seen all the in-game transactions that you're going to be able to do. So.
Oh yeah, GTA Plus releasing for Enhanced Edition recently. That's fun.
Yeah.
Subscription-based premium.
So bad, man. It's so bad that this is where we're at.
It is. It's genuinely so disappointing. I get more disappointed with the games industry each week lately. Like, come on, just give me some good news. Bethesda's doing reasonable things at the moment. Xbox
Which is surprising considering they're the ones who started all this malarkey.
Yeah. Xbox is doing so-so things. I'm still not fully forgiving them after the fiasco from the other week. PlayStation... What are PlayStation doing, actually?
It's good that we don't know. If no news with PlayStation is good news, that's the only good news you'll get from them.
I mean, they've been stupidly quiet. I know they've got some releases coming soon. Like, the next Ghosts of game is releasing. But that's about as much detail as I really have on PlayStation at the moment. So, I'm probably going to have to check in. In my opinion,
that's good.
Yeah, I know, but I still need to check in. And that's scary in itself. I mean, to be honest, we're coming up to now where in a few months we're going to have more of the live streams to cover, like we did last year.
That is true. Yeah,
So
that is
we'll
true.
be able to check out some of the new games that are up and coming over the next year. And honestly, that's my most enjoyable time because guaranteed you'll have some shadow drops, which is becoming more and more of a thing. Don't know what it is. Every subsidiary of Bethesda just seems to shadow drop shit.
I mean, in my opinion, that's better than a game being
6
built
months
up
late.
and highly anticipated just to be told, yeah, you'll be waiting like 6 years for it.
Yeah. Well, this is a new game that we're working on. Oh, by the way, it releases today. Enjoy getting it on Game Pass. Bye. Cool. We'll come up with this.
I mean, that's
Download.
one way to just start uproar and have people going, yo, what?
I mean, that was Hi-Fi Rush that did it first, I think we saw. And then we've had Oblivion Remaster do it. And it's insane, but it's so good to do. I'd love to see some shadow drops. I'd love to see some actual development over the next, I'd say, it's 14 months, because we're probably about 2 months away from them starting up. So yeah, I'd love to see some actual movement in the next 14 months. So yeah, we'll see from there though. But anyways, I believe we've covered everything that we wanted to cover today.
Like it.
Perfect. So in that case, thank you all very much for watching. If you have enjoyed, feel free to like, follow, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. And remember that the Discord is in the description, so feel free to join and discuss
I hope it
all
is.
sorts of random and nonsensical things with us. Or just even drop
Always.
us a message and let us know what you'd like to hear us discuss. Without further ado, thank you again, and we will see you all next time.
Bye for now, guys. See you next.